All right, welcome to the Stampscapes lab. We have tried out this type of paper here, which is a different type of paper than, the glossy photo paper of the past. This seems to be more coated with some sort of a clear sealant that doesn't allow for certain types of media to be applied to it. Enter StazOn, pretty much the ink that works on anything. And luckily for us, we have kind of some techniques that we've developed over time using non-porous surfaces, okay? And that's more along the lines, I guess, of the current Shutterfly types of, I don't know, whatever printing, whatever methodology that they seem to be using. All right, so I'm going to be applying StazOn ink, in this case, to my cozy cabin left, cozy night cabins. All right, and this is a print of, it's kind of almost like a warm toned, kind of low contrast print. It looks like I took it of some rain clouds right here because I can see the rain coming down, but real atmospheric and interesting, I think. And I'm stamping this on the horizon because I'm going to use this in a reflection card. Now these reflection cards can go pretty fast. And now that I'm using StazOn ink on these prints, it should go, I don't know, maybe even faster because you can't really color these a whole lot, okay? It's more of a stamp on, maybe some minimal color and some effects, and that's it. All right? So the StazOn ink, as it does with, just about all surfaces, goes on just fine. It dries pretty fast, but, you might want to kind of allow it to dry a little bit before you go around touching it, and especially in the really thick areas. But there we go with the horizon type of format like this. I'm using a gold mirrored gold foil down below because I think it looks pretty good with this kind of, slightly warmer tone gray up top there. I desaturated and it was probably blue tones, but I made it neutral. And I say this on all my photo printing, photo stamping videos, but all of these prints like this are all available for download, free download, and you can print them on your home inkjet printer. If you're doing it on your home inkjet printer, you don't have to use StazOn. You can print on, just standard photo paper with your dye-based inks. Your Brilliance inks work really well in it. But on the new, I don't know, these prints right here, again, it's more like stamping on like vinyl or something like a non-printable vinyl. So just, I don't know, really quite interesting to me. I'm really kind of surprised at, this type of paper that they, I don't know, seem to be using these days. I haven't made prints in quite some time. I usually get a bunch of them all at the same time, and I'm set up, I'm set with them for years. Because I don't do a huge amount of photo stamping. All right, so silver foil again with the StazOn ink like that. All right, it looks really, kind of dark like that, but remember this print right here is going to be reflecting down in it like that. Okay, so any kind of light areas in here will look light down here. Let's see, take a look and see how this is looking. See these kind of rocks are in the foreground like this. Real dimensional looking, kind of like a little mini diorama, I usually say. I don't know, that's what they kind of remind me of. All right, let's see. Let's get some taller trees in the foreground, and we'll create a greater sense of, or greater illusion of depth, I should say. And again, these scenes go pretty fast, especially when you really can't color them. So you know, they come together quickly and easily, and they're really fun to do too. I really like the end results. All right, let's go with some taller trees in the foreground. I'll use my pines and rocks on both sides of the bottom corners, okay? Go like this. I'm holding this down a little bit longer on this mirrored foil just to allow that ink to kind of set up a little bit and transfer. All right, it's hard to see on this really reflective surface like this because it's mirrored, so everything is getting into that, reflecting there. Someone said, yeah, when they're using that cardstock, they get fingerprints all over it. It's just like working with a piece of, I don't know, like glass practically or something like that. You're going to get some fingerprints on it. But, when you're all done with this, that's when you kind of clean it up a little bit. Or you can wear gloves when doing it too. All right, so this is what we're looking at right now. Okay, like this. And let's get a little bit more texturing in here. I like my tiny rock small. It's like one of the most smallest little features here, but it can really add a nice little texturing in with just about any location within a scene. And it adds a lot of visual richness to a piece. You can use it in water, grass. Down here, I'm adding it around my, kind of larger rocks to add a little bit more texture, but it looks like it's kind of a shallower area right around our rocky area. See that right in there, like that. And I have it down here. Okay, let's take a look and let's see if I got it into that area right below the cabin right here. And it looks like it did okay. See this right in here? I don't know if you can see those rocks right in here, but they kind of reflect on the surface of the foil over the top of the reflection in there. So it's a little bit more dimensional like that. It's a pretty cool photo to be stamping on. This is the first time I've used a lot of these photos. I don't know. Like, it's been a really long time since I had these, had prints made. So I had prints made of like all my photos, cloud photos, and of those, there were probably 20 or 30 that I've never printed before. So, whenever I see some really good cloud formations outside, usually after it rains or something like that, or the day after, if they look really clear, I'll go out and I'll, shoot 7 or 8 shots of it. And some of them I'll kind of play around with a little bit in, in the photo editing program just to desaturate a little bit so that we can kind of use them in a little bit different way. Horse reflection. This is one of my favorite new stamps. I'm using it all the time. Sometimes solid stamps on these types of non-porous surfaces don't stamp like really flatly, and you get a little blotchy, but what you do is you just fill it in with a Sharpie pen if it doesn't stamp out all the way. And it kind of puddles up a little bit on these flat surfaces when you get all that ink in there. And that happens. Just kind of know it going into it. And again, it's not going to happen on like a cardstock or something like that, but or a porous cardstock, I should say. But right in here, actually, that doesn't look too bad. It kind of didn't stamp out in a couple areas, but it kind of looks like that just the lighting is hitting it in a different area of the horse. So we have this right here, right there. It's got a real dimensional, and it has a certain spirit to it. I'll get these glue, taped down in here. They're all bowed right now, so it's kind of hard to tell. Let me see if I can counter bow this a little bit. Get these kind of flatter, like that. Okay. All right. Now, like I said, there's not, I can't color in too much. Now this is looking more like a sepia looking, like an old print type of look. So I don't want to add in too much, but like on these trees, I don't want to add in like a lot of color, I should say. But something like this might be kind of interesting. Kind of a range of some brownish gray. This is a little bit of a warm tan right here, but that color isn't in here, but that's a little bit of a warmish brown. So it's a little bit too much. Let me try something like this. Here we go. I might add in some tones in here a little bit. Now, these alcohol inks could smear your imagery. So I'm working kind of fast. I'm not spending too much time going over them. I'll get like one layer down and just kind of stop, because it does put the alcohol ink impression back into solution, and it will kind of smear around a little bit. So you don't want to do too much, okay? You can work in some kind of more open areas where there's not too much ink, okay? If you want to get a little bit of color down like that. So right in here, I'm just kind of modeling it a little bit more just so it isn't kind of wide open, blank space, or just the color of the photograph in the background if it's a lighter area. So that I'm just trying to give it a little bit more mass and volume to the, in this case, the trees, or in the rock area below it. Okay, now I have a white paint pen. I don't know if that's going to be too light. This one's pretty light as well, and then I also have this slightly more peach color, but I think this one's going to be the best bet. I might use some white on here too. All right, now the acrylic paint pens, you can kind of do whatever you want with them because they'll apply to just about any surface, just like the StazOn ink. All right, so let's see how this looks. So, okay, so there's a little bit of like horizon lighting coming here. This is one of those few times when I can kind of like bottom light some of these branches on here. Usually the light is kind of coming from above, but and the scene is already kind of dark, so I don't want to go too light like that. But seeing these little highlights like that, it kind of looks like they're just being illuminated. These tree branches are being illuminated a little bit with the, or from the, that horizon glow down there, okay? And on some of these lighter trees in here, I can apply more of this because it, there isn't quite so much contrast. So I can get this kind of shimmery look onto some of these trees reminiscent of reflected light. I don't know if I'll go with the white on here. The white might be a little bit, you know, too light for this area in here. All right, so this is like the type of technique that I use on, when I'm stamping things on foil. I'm not, here are colored foils or holographic foils. I'm not adding too much color down, so it's kind of more like shading and highlighting to kind of enhance something. And right in here, I'm just kind of illuminating some of the areas or the objects that are kind of already a little bit light. So I'm just kind of making them a little bit lighter, with a little highlighted touch like that. Okay, now this is the night cabin. So the window areas are kind of open, and I can add in a little bit more contrast by making that area in the windows a little bit lighter. It just kind of makes them stand out a touch more. Like that, okay? And that's going to serve us pretty well when it comes to the reflection in the water, because a little bit more contrast up here reads easier in that reflected area like that. See, that doesn't seem like a real peaceful kind of setting right here. Really kind of mellow. And again, that the photographs, with those kind of cloud formations up there, they're really soft, and they have a lot of variation in there inherently. So you introduce that into your scene, and it just inherently contributes that type of mood into your scenes instead of having to kind of, make it from scratch, by starting with a white piece of paper. There's more variation that you can do with a white piece of paper. There's more kind of variety. On this one, you're working around, whatever colors and textures are already on your photo print. But again, it's kind of an easy way to work if if you want to go for this type of look, or let's say you don't have, too much time to do it, then photo stamping is a pretty cool way to approach a scene in whatever given time that you're allowing for. All right, so I'm going to add a little bit of white pigment ink into the scene and add that little bit of extra kind of atmosphere, kind of haze and mist. Look at that kind of glow right there. And we'll add a little bit around the shoreline like this. I don't think I'll do too much in here. See that right along there? That's kind of this misty, glowing light, or, mist. It's reflected light is what mist is. It's moisture in the air being illuminated by light like that. See, that kind of creates a little bit of a glow. And then that, if you're putting it into a reflection card, that will read down in that reflected area like that. Now, this could be a card too. You can just, put a quote up here or something like that. This one might be a little bit too dark, but let me get this all taped in here, and let's see how it looks. All right, there we have our card. Pretty fast to make. I don't know, about 15 minutes or so, probably, start to finish. You can see those tones in there. You get some of this gold reflecting back up there, giving this a little bit more of a warmer tinge than just the straight card like that. You can see it's a warmer gray, but then when you add this glowing reflected gold light back up into it, it kind of warms it up a little bit more, and it gives it a little bit of a stronger kind of mostly like a horizon glow, kind of down in these areas like that. But pretty fast card to do. I think there's not really a way to. I mean, we can kind of do certain things up there, but that photograph for certain types of looks really gets us, to a certain area or point in terms of kind of the emotional, whatever spirit of a card, just instantly. And all it is just a matter of kind of stamping right over the top of them. So, it's always going to. I always feel that the mood of a scene is kind of established in the sky. It's what's happening, with colors in the sky and such, and you know, uh, they're just really going to kind of establish, a certain type of feel for a scene just right off the bat. So just stamp on them, do some test prints. If you get some photos either printed out or if you're printing them out on your like a home inkjet printer, test out the different inks that you have and see which ones give you the best quality impressions. You want to see which inks will dry on them, and then maybe you can color on them as well. Now, if it's on standard photo paper, you should be able to stamp on them with dye-based inks and color them with alcohol pens. And you can blend with alcohol pens and, you can do a lot more variety. Apparently on the Shutterfly, I'm looking at StazOn, so, I'm probably not doing too much coloring on there. I'll try to play around with it a little bit more, but it might be like a StazOn ink and acrylic paint pen type of activity going forward. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe spray fixing or something like that, and sealing off some things, and then coloring them with the alcohol pens. Maybe that'll do the trick. I'm not quite sure, but we'll come up with some different types of looks here. But look at that horse right down there in that kind of reflected area like that. Look how three-dimensional this looks. It's almost like coming up with a pop-up card. Right here, I'd do some sort of quote right here in reverse. You can do your card bases in any color you want. I tend to like them in black. I don't know. It's like, this light coming out of the card, when you open it up like that. It kind of makes it for kind of a dramatic reveal for us or, for anyone that we're, giving a card to. So really fun stuff. Drop me a note if you ever have any questions about any of the techniques, the stamps used, or kind of any of the sequencing. Sometimes it's like, hey, do you stamp out something first? Do you color it first, or what comes before the pigment ink or coloring portion or something like that? If there's ever any confusion about that, and I'll get right back to you. All right, thanks so much for watching.